Do you think that it is justified for a player to essentially hold his hands up and say, I'm not playing for you until I get a better deal?
For me personally, in the sporting context, I think contracts need to be honoured. If people are going to sign contracts and clubs are going to pay them, you're being paid to play.
The complexity, I guess, there in the NFL is particularly with rookie contracts, though. So when the CBA, the most recent CBA, was negotiated, the idea that rookies are coming into the NFL being paid a ridiculous amount of money before they've even taken a snap, that's not fair on the vet. So they reverse that, essentially. The trouble now, of course, is you get a rookie coming in within one season in many cases, but with a couple of years, they're playing at an elite level. And they're trapped in this long-term contract.
Yeah. I've always found that to be disgraceful is a strong word, but one of the least explainable positions in sport, because it's quite apparent that rookies are owed a lot of money from their time in college. A lot of the number one, the first round picks are playing at huge universities that are bringing in a huge amount of revenue. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars. They are being compensated with scholarships in many cases, but in reality they're not being compensated financially, and that would probably for many of them go well beyond the price of their education. So when they come into the league, to put another restriction on what they can earn, for me, is a bit perverse. They've now reached the elite level. Most of the country knows their name. That's when you think, how much does the NFL and the owners, how much do they really value these players? I think they genuinely think that someone else will come off the... Yeah,
in most cases they do. And we know this as well with the structure of the contracts and the guaranteed money element, which is, compared to the NBA, for example, is completely different. And there are so many examples of players that are cut because of the salary cap, and they're going to cost that team too much money, when it's completely unfair given everything they've given to that team and the level that they're performing. But it happens because it's business and it gets done. It creates as well, I guess, this very mercenary attitude on both sides. And that's very different to football over here, isn't it? That when a player decides to move on and cash in the NFL, in most cases, specifically if he hasn't held out, in most cases, fans are sympathetic with that and certainly not aggrieved by that. Whereas in football, in European football, it's fundamentally different, isn't it?
Yeah. The idea of loyalty, I think 32 teams is, and such a short career in NFL as well for a lot of the players, body gets destroyed. So you need to get that paycheck, which that big payday is one of the reasons you got into the sport. You've reached a point where you're probably your mid-20s for a lot of them they've made good money. A lot of them in the first few years of being in the NFL, but they haven't got that huge contract.
Sure,
right?
And it goes quick. You think about, they've got the agents, you've got the tax, and also, I guess, the appearances to uphold, and that is not every player necessarily follows that route, but a lot of them, there is pressure to have the car, to buy the house, to look the part, because it's the mindset of surviving in this elite league. It's difficult to navigate that, as you say, when you're 21, 22 years old.
And it's so easy to get cut. It's so easy to be replaced. It's so easy to be traded. Trading for me when I got into the NFL and American sport in general was always a difficult concept for me, that a player could just be told, that's it, because I'm so used to not loyalty necessarily, but people trying to build their team and giving people a chance to improve, and coaching. I've said before around football teams, for example, in the United Kingdom, there has to be a point where the genuinely coaches, that some things take time, right? Some players might take a season. In the NFL, you're not going to get a season.
That luxury,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's move on to specifically Jalen Ramsey in that situation, because Ramsey, it's all going pear-shaped. As far as the Jags are concerned, he had flu earlier this week. He might not play on Sunday. He clearly wants out, but they're digging their heels in as well. Do you reckon a deal will get done? Do you reckon Ramsey will go?
It depends what he wants. Some people, they...
And what the Jags want for him, I guess, as well. 2 first-rounders. I think that makes a lot of sense.
He's one of the best players in the sport. I mean, you can't give him away cheaply. It doesn't matter how much noise he makes. He's a huge commodity for that side. You can't let him leave for a poor deal, and that's down to the front office to make sure they get the best possible deal. In terms of why he's unhappy or why he wants to leave, listen, the franchise sport has always shown especially the NFL, that you might be at a team for a while where you're the star, the big fish in a small pond, the one that's consistently performing at a level that their teammates don't add up to. You know, the system is there to help sides that don't finish well get the pick of the best players for the next season. So you have to, in many regards, you have to wait it out if you're one of those players.
The Jags had changed their tune a bit, because if, you know, when Foles went down and they thought, God, there's our season done, and then Minshew's come in and actually, well, you know, maybe we're contending after all, maybe we can still,
you need players like Jalen Ramsey.
That's what I mean. They're rather, you know, if they were 0-3 at this stage and not at the races, they might be more open-minded to dealing him. But now they think they're contending. The last thing they want to do is deal him.
I wonder if Jalen Ramsey just might want another big contract to stay, make him happy.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. I think there's a little bit of politics involved here. I don't know if Jalen Ramsey's in that position where he's genuinely saying, I could never play for this team again.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's a case of, right, if I'm going to really genuinely be the guy for the Jacksonville Jaguars again, pay me up even more.
Hope you enjoyed the Nat Coombs Show presented by Paddy Power Fantasy. There's plenty more where that came from. Just click subscribe to ESPN UK and you won't miss a trick.